We're going to switch kind of gears and go into Revelation, the 13th chapter. Apostle Ramlab did a sit down on this. If you brothers have not watched this sit down, I highly, advise you to watch the sit down. And I what it's called, Mystery Babylon. It's up on the Sharmaf page. You read up.
Yeah.
It's on
It's two parts.
It's a two-part series.
Yeah. Both of them are full packed with information.
But Apostle Ramlab goes in on Revelation, the 13th chapter. And there's a particular part in the second verse that I found extremely interesting. And then later on in the 13th verse that I found very interesting. And for brothers that have been in the camp for a while, you might have had a different understanding about the breakdown. So I wanted to just highlight it real quick just to make sure that we was all on the same page, because I know brothers within our camp were like, oh, yeah, okay, damn,
Right, okay.
All right,
Revelations chapter 13 and 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
That beast is talking about the Roman Empire.
Right.
Okay.
I got the 7 heads. It's the Greeks, Rome, Spanish, French, Germanian Major, Germanian Minor, and the British. All right. And out of British came who? America. All right. That other horn.
Yeah, you can read what's the Revelation, the 20th chapter, where it goes in on that. 7 heads, and then it came at 8.
No, 17.
17. It's a lot. Go ahead.
All right. It says, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. All right. And this is dealing with Edomite power structure. The powerhouse, the earth being given into the hand of the wicked. In its fullness, his little season, all of that is fulfilled through his whole energy, man. The beast, his military, the sword is a part of that. The deception, all of that.
Yeah, man. His economic system.
Yeah.
His spiritual philosophy on the left hand side, the worshiping of all these items. Okay. Him living by the sword. Okay. He had to do all these things. He had to completely break the law, statutes, commandments to achieve his Godhead, so to speak, right now, man. He had to remove all the landmarks and get people up out of where they was originally planted to control the economic markets the way that he controlled. Okay. And so during the time of the Roman Empire, bro, he came to perfect that thing. So he spread out, man. So he was known as a beast, man, with 7 heads and 10 horns. And that was talking about his full military capability that he had spread all across the land using all these other nations. And then it's talking about his economic system of trade and commerce that he uses to put everybody in slavery. And he's doing the same thing as the Roman Empire all the way up into today. It's just more technological. Okay.
Right. The names of blasphemy, his deceit, his wine. He transgressed by wine. That's a part of it too. Let me get this. This is Psalms 144 and 12 and 11. Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand, which is their power, their righteousness, is the right hand of falsehood. All right. So what they're about is left hand energy. That's everything you see before you is fake, from the food to the arguments you see going back and forth between. It's all a lie, man. It's all goes back to the ruling class families just playing chess and checkers with the world, trying to fulfill the role of the Most High, man. That's really what this is all about, through the energy of Satan. Their righteousness is falsehood, man.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton, look at this shit, man. It's all bullshit, man.
Okay. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
He's over in the Holy Land, He painted Yahweh Shai as a cracker. Go ahead.
Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things,
Mm-hmm.
and now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the iniquity, it's like for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way.
Yeah, man. He just set up to put everybody into a beast-like mindset. Okay, left hand energy mindset, man. All right. So live your life, carnal against the structure of Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
The serpent.
All right, the serpent.
They call him that old serpent.
Mm-hmm.
You know. All right. Revelations 13:2. All right, and I'll finish 13. And upon his head, the heads, the names of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
All right. So let's go back to the top of the second verse.
All right. Revelations 13:2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
So it's giving you characteristics of this beast. And it's the first characteristics he says, which I saw, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. All right. It's going into the Greek Empire. All right. Now, it's specifically Alexander the Greek, man. Because during that time, that's when Esau basically came out of nowhere, man, and started ruling on the planet Earth. All right, out of Macedonia. And ain't that the nature of a leopard, to move on you swiftly, unexpectedly, to blend in? All right.
Habakkuk chapter 1 and 8. Their horses also are swifter than the leopards, and are more fierce than the evening wolves, and their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from far. They shall fly as the eagle that hastened to eat.
Yeah, man, and that's what them Greeks did, man. And that's a characteristic of this beast system, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they gonna come and devour quickly. All right. And when you read in Maccabees, it says that evils was, bring Maccabees 1:1.
Yeah, it all goes back to Cain. All right.
He's 1 and 9. I'll put the first Maccabees.
I got you.
1. You got it?
Mm-hmm. It's first Maccabees 1 and 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
So Alexander the Great. Go ahead.
So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
Yeah, man. So that's a characteristic of that beast system, that Greek Empire, man. Because under them, you had the destruction of Jake and all types of stuff. But let's go back to Revelation.
This is all the energy of Cain, Esau. The weapon, Cain means weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Esau was blessed with the sword. When you do the study on Cain, he just destroyed everything. And he influenced mankind in a fucked up way, man.
Yeah.
Esau, the same thing. And now it's describing him as a whole beast, his whole power structure, all right? And it says, and the beast which I saw, Revelation 13:2, was like unto a leopard, and his feet as the feet of a bear.
Mm-hmm. It says, and his feet as the feet of a bear. What does the feet represent? The feet represents the end of the thing, man. And when you look now spiritually, when it talks about the bear in Daniel, you can hear Apostle Ramlop go into this, man. It's mentioning Persian, Medes, okay? But this is talking about Russia, man. Because who's going to push this system to its end? Russia. And you saw them building it up during the time of the Cold War, man, where they had these nuclear arms races. And the elite are using this East versus West paradigm to bring it into this thing, man. Because the Most High using the angels to put them spirits on them.
Hey, it goes into that in Revelations later on down when it says he has two horns like a lamb, but he spoke as a lion or as a dragon. You see?
Yeah.
Pressure from above, pressure from below.
Mm-hmm.
Satan.
So he's using that wickedness to control both sides, man. Okay?
I got something on Russia.
Go ahead.
All right, this is talking about Gog and Magog, Ezekiel 38, and this is the Lord telling Russia what they're going to do. They're receiving it. They're being told. All right, it says, "Thus saith the Lord God: It shall also come to pass that at that same time shall things come into thy mind." That's why you see Russia constantly in the news.
Mm-hmm. Always talking about the troop movements that they're making,
right?
And then who's making.
Next, leaders from NATO countries met in Poland today to finalize plans to beef up the military alliance. For the first time since the Cold War, multinational troops will continuously rotate through 4 countries in Eastern Europe. Special correspondent Nick Schifrin, with the help of the Pulitzer Center on Crisis Reporting, concludes our series with a look at America's largest military buildup there in a quarter century and why Russia sees it as a threat.
Here's the scenario. An unnamed enemy has invaded a NATO ally. The U.S. response is heavy and swift. For U.S. troops who've been fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan, this is more firepower than they've ever had.
That was wild. We've been fighting an insurgency for the last 14 years. Now we're prepared to fight someone who is closely matched to our combat power.
Captain Joel Marbot deployed twice to Afghanistan. This exercise, held last month, was the largest in Eastern Europe since the Cold War.
Now they're prepared for any enemy counterattack to come back across the international border.
Marbot isn't allowed to name that enemy, but in the command tent, Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Evans pulls fewer punches when discussing his Polish hosts.
And they see, examples of Russian aggression. Us being here, assuring them that the U.S. has not abandoned them, that the U.S. is still a strong supporter of NATO, can do nothing but provide additional assurance.
On the training ground, there was even a burned-out Soviet-style tank for target practice. This isn't only assurance to allies, it's also deterrence and a warning to Russia. After the Cold War, the U.S. military dramatically downsized in Europe from 200,000 to 30,000 troops. Now, the U.S. is beginning to quadruple spending and will rotate 4,200 soldier heavily armored brigades back-to-back with their own equipment at the highest level of readiness.
But that is a powerful capability that will...
Making movements to counteract the Russian troop movement. NATO is that beast that's coming back. NATO is the Roman Empire coming back again. It represents basically Esau controlling all these nations, man. And using the military to control and dominate. All right?
Yep. They have the priests that go out through the world and spread wine. The what's that? I forget the name of that group. The Jesuits. They have it all on lock through wickedness, man. All right? It says, "Thus saith the Lord God, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, and say, I will go up unto the land of unwalled villages." That's America, all right? "I will go to them that are at rest." That's the people over here in America, man. So the Russians are over there, because that's a different breed of Edomite, man. They look at America with disgust, man. Mm-hmm. They don't like the way that you live. They don't even allow people to use microwaves in Russia, man. Yeah. So they're on a whole different level than you stupid ass Americans, man. All right. It says, "I will go to them that are at rest and shall dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither gate nor bars, to take a spoil and to take a prey, and to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and gold that dwell in the midst of the land."
Yeah, man.
These people,
And how is the U.S. being able to go in and get all of these things in these nations?
Right.
NATO, man.
Right.
They go and they start proxy wars and they go take them down and they give them a loan from the International Monetary Fund out of Washington, D.C. Yeah. Who runs Washington, D.C.? Well, let's go back right here to Revelation,
right.
13th chapter.
Right. Revelations 13:2. "And the beast which I saw is like unto a leopard, and his feet as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion."
So, and his mouth is the mouth of a lion. It's talking about Great Britain. That's why Great Britain still controls and runs Washington, D.C. Why? Because the English run the economic arm of the beast system. All right, that's why you're getting these characteristics of the leopard, of the bear, which is Russia pushing all the military might of NATO, because NATO was able to acquire all these nuclear weaponry and get everybody to come together. The way that they justified it was, we gotta get, you know,
right. We gotta
Russia,
fight back against Russia, right?
Russia, man.
Yeah.
We have to have a strong military. So during that time of the Cold War, the U.S. and the EU and all the NATO allies were able to build up armaments and justify it in the public, man. Okay. Meanwhile, what was going on during as you get later on, you had the International Monetary Fund trying to get the Soviet Union people to come underneath their banner. That's why they made that war in Kosovo. The war in Kosovo was a false flag war that Esau set up because the Serbs didn't want to take the IMF loans.
Joseph Tito, who had kept Yugoslavia together since World War II, died in 1980, just as the USSR began reforming and the Yugoslav economy began declining. The IMF agreed to loan Yugoslavia money, but required a series of reforms which worsened unemployment, decentralized the Communist Party, and helped fuel nationalism. However, who became nationalistic first is still a matter of debate.
Didn't want to come underneath the banner of NATO, man. All right? And ever since that time, you've seen NATO go indiscriminately into different nations and just start bombing them to get these nations underneath the IMF and their economic system. Right now, they're in Syria. You know? And they same thing over and over again, man. Same thing over and over again. Okay? All right, so let's go back to that.
All right. In his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Yeah, man. So everything is played out, man, through America, man.
Right.
Everything is played out, man.
Right. And the military might that he was given, because he was blessed with the sword, gave him great authority. These different nations bringing their resources and their military together to fight for the interests of this particular entity.
Yeah.
All right. And that's great authority, man. They're able to rule and go through the world using America as they poison people through America. America is just basically a whore that bird. That's why America rides the beast, because they use America to basically poison and do everything, and they use the beast to go and do underhanded shit and fuck with everybody and deceive everybody, man.
Right. I got a couple of articles I'm gonna bring out real quick.
Okay.
Just to highlight what we've been saying.
All right.
When you just Google Cold War and go to Wikipedia, it says the Cold War was a state of political and military tension after World War II between powers in the Western Bloc of the United States, its NATO allies and others, and powers in the Eastern Bloc, the Soviet Union and its satellite states. All right. Historians don't fully agree on the dates, but a common time frame is a period between 1947, the year of the Truman Doctrine. It says a U.S. policy pledging to aid nations threatened by Soviet expansionism and was announced in 1991, the year of the Soviet Union, collapsed. But you know they didn't really start getting it pushed until they was able to do that Treaty of Rome. Okay. Now, when you read about that the Treaty of Rome, that's basically when that beast system was fully was formulated. That's when it came back, man. That's when Rome came back. Okay? So when you Wikipedia Treaty of Rome, it says the Treaty of Rome, officially the treaty establishing the European Economic Community, is an international agreement that led to the founding of the European Economic Community, the EEC. It was signed on 25th of March, 1957 by Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and West Germany. All pieces of those 10 horns.
10 horns, right.
Which is those common markets of the beast.
Right.
All right. Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and West Germany, and came into force on the 1st of January, 1958. Okay. So you know you brothers can Google that and go into the history of that, because whenever those markets start to come together, that's when they needed NATO to protect these markets and to expand these markets, you know, to control the known world, you know. Let's go back to.
And it's crazy how it talks about how those 4 archangels are over there in near the river Euphrates stirring things up. They damn sure got something to do with that evil thought that's going into Gog and Magog, man.
Yeah.
That's a part of it, you know?
Yeah.
Let me go back here.
Yeah, go back.
All right, Revelations chapter 13. I'll finish 2. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one.
That part where it says his mouth was as the mouth of a lion. Yeah. I wanted to further clarify that because we were talking about how, you know, America came out of Great Britain, man. And so it's doctrine.
Same thing, yeah.
You know, it's economic system, okay, because basically the Bank of England is the one that set up Washington, D.C. and everything that you see in America, the whole economic center, all right? Because London was a financial center. You look up the word financial center before New York, all right? Now, what catapulted the American economy ahead of the British economy, ahead of the European markets themselves? It was slavery, free labor, all right? Having that free labor, they was able to, you know, excel economically at a much faster rate, all right? You had full-on slavery over here, man, going in, all right? And in these lands, it ain't the bottomless pit like Europe is, where they only got a few natural resources, and you know, so America is plush. You know what I mean? It's the land of milk and honey. For Esau is like, oh my God,
they came over motherfucking food.
You know?
Yeah, I think too they had the Native Americans in captivity also for a period of time.
Oh man,
before they were decimated.
The British Empire destroyed many. Look what they did to the Aborigines, man. That ain't even Israelites, but god damn. I mean, they just killed people under they were heavy into that Darwinism shit, man. That's another part of the mouth of that, the blasphemy, man. You see, under the guise of Darwinism, that's what they were using to justify killing all of these people. They're beasts. Yep. You know, like they said about the Native Americans, they were so nice that we just said they shouldn't live.
This is a heater right here.
Go ahead.
Apostle Ron Love and the brother GMS giving diligence put Jeremiah 50:12. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nation shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. You know, that's symbolic of Great Britain.
That's Great Britain.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And just how America was able to, you know, just go further along, you know? So I wanted to bring out this quick article. And this is in bibliotheca.palladius.net. It says, the United States remains a British colony by Holly Gregg. This was written in July 20th, 2010. Part 1. In the mid-70s, the American colonies were prospering, in part because they were issuing their own money called colonial scrip, which was strictly regulated and did not require the payment of any interest. Okay, when the bankers of Great Britain heard this, they turned to the British Parliament, which passed a law prohibiting the colonial scrip, forcing the colonists to accept the debt or fiat money issued by the Bank of England. All right, that fractional reserve banking system was well oiled by this time. If you go on my page, I kind of go into the history of the Bank of England and that fractional reserve banking system, and how after they got King James out of there, they wanted his son Charles to they wanted to take him down. And then you had Oliver Cromwell, all right, dealing with them so-called Jews to get the whole monarchy out of there, man, so they could run it, all right. And how they was going into Scotland and going into Ireland, putting them in captivity over there, because it was Jake all up in Scotland and Ireland. So, you know, it's on my page. Your brother just type in Bank of England, and it'll pop up if you brothers want to get some more information on that. All right. It says, contrary to what history teaches, the American Revolution was not ignited by attacks on tea. According to Benjamin Franklin, it was because the conditions became so reversed that the era of prosperity ended. He said, The colonies would gladly have borne the little tax on tea and other matters had it not been the poverty caused by the bad influence of the English bankers on the Parliament, which has caused the colonies' hatred of England and a Revolutionary War. Then it says, when the Treaty of Paris was signed in 1783, most Americans thought that total independence from England had been won. The fact of the matter, however, is that true independence from England never really materialized. He's quoting right here, working with Hamilton, Aaron Burr helped raise subscriptions or shares of for a private company to improve the water supply of pestilence-ridden Manhattan. Well, Hamilton and Burr also secured a charter underwriting from the Bank of England. New Yorkers were shocked to learn that the surplus capital from the venture had been used to establish the Bank of Manhattan, as the BNY was first known. 25,000 shares were issued, of which 18,000 were held by investors in England. So they ran the banks, man. The Bank of England loaned the United States money in exchange for securities of the United States. Let me see. Yeah, now the creditors of the United States, which included the Bank of England, wanted to be paid interest on the loans that were granted to the United States. So Hamilton came up with the bright idea of taxing alcohol. Consumers resisted, so President Washington sent out the militia to collect the tax, which they did. That episode became known as the Whiskey Rebellion. And that was all from money that's owed to the Bank of England, because that's who runs everything. You got something else?
Yeah. Micah 6:11. Shall I count them pure with the wicked balances, and with the bag of deceitful weights? For the rich men thereof are full of violence, and the inhabitants thereof have spoken lies, and their tongue is deceitful in their mouth. You know? The way that they use money, man, it's all based upon sin, which is usury, man. It's an unfair, unbalanced system, man.
Yep. And this system of fractional reserve banking, man, that the way that they do it with the interest rates, and they control inflation and everything like that, that puts all these nations into a hopeless position. Okay, to where they have to come now, these nations have to come to the International Monetary Fund to receive these loans just so they can get food to the stores. Because if your economy's not moving, if trucks ain't moving, people are starving. If people are starving, people are revolting. If people are revolting, you can't run things. So it has to be controlled. All right? And that's why we're saying right here in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, when it says that he had a mouth like a lion, that whole system of doctrine and economy, even the English language itself, that's the trick bag. You know? So yeah, man. So each characteristic shows you the power of this beast structure in a different capacity. The bear, you know, what is a feet of a bear? It's claw. What?
Yeah.
You know?
That's right.
And they use that paradigm against Russia, because ultimately that's going to be the end of this place, you know, to bolster up NATO and everything like that. Okay?
All right. Revelations chapter 13:4. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Who is able to make war with him? That's the sentiment of NATO, man. You see these nations all come together and they storming through. They send their air force through, decimate all the targets that they need, destroy your communications and everything like that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they got special forces that have been there for months. Activate them niggas.
Yeah.
You know? So people are like, who's gonna make war with this beast?
Yeah. That's what people say here in America. You know, we'll just bomb them to obliteration with their fucking shades on that hot dog and that Pepsi. Oh, we'll just blow them until we'll obliterate them. They can never stand up again. Blah, blah, blah. But the Lord has made it to where Esau has sold these nations, particularly. This is what Esau is so stupid, man.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I got to create one side against another. I'm gonna give this side missiles so that in the news I can blame them for being terrorists. You know.
Meanwhile, he's arming his destruction.
He's arming his own. He got him. The Most High got this dude in the trick. You stupid.
So he created this whole thing with Russia.
Yeah.
Just so he could get more control and make people say we got to come together.
Right against this. It's all about energy. That's why voting is big in his system, because he don't care about the votes. It's all about energy, what people's mind is geared towards, man. He needs particular thing. He got to have shit going in this propaganda, in this news, man.
He got to become God. He got to be God.
Yeah, he has to be God.
He has to be
Ooh, I'm going to do this, and watch how they, like the Most High, he can put, a demon on somebody.
Yeah.
The Most High can, give you a disease, but Esau's like, we're going to give these people disease and see what happens. He's the devil, man.
Freak.
That's the role of the Most High Yahweh. He is the one that has power over life and death. Esau tries to just take control of what is, man, and say that he is what he says is. And it's all based upon bullshit. When you go into Willie, what this nigga is talking about is childish. It's based upon fairy tales.
Yeah.
This ain't happening, man. All right?
All right, so where you
at? Revelation 13, 5. Right.
Go back up to did we go over verse 3?
No, it's a lot. I think I skipped it. All right, Revelation 13 and 3. And I saw, all right, one of his heads as it were wounded to death, all right, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
All right. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
This is what I want. Yeah.
Right.
Verse 4.
All right. And because that's dealing with the Renaissance period in chapter 3, in verse 3. All right. The head that was wounded, the Roman Empire. All right.
It's just talking about that Roman Empire being established all over again, man.
Right. Right. It says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
And so how are they worshiping the beast? They're coming into their system.
Right.
All right. They're taking these these loans. They're becoming a part of NATO. They're trading with the United States, man. All right. They follow all the rules and the doctrine that NATO and the EU and the UN and America present out to the world, man, because they have that great military might. Okay.
Habakkuk chapter 1 and 10. And they shall scoff at the kings, and the princes shall be a scorn unto them, and they shall deride every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it. That's Esau.
Yeah, man. Confusion.
Yeah.
Wickedness.
Okay. And they scoff at the kings. They send their economic hitmans to deride strongholds, set up their banks, give out loans, and everybody's in captivity.
Okay. And just this quick article. Is there more on there that you got?
No.
Okay, I wanted to read this quick article just to make this point about Russia and NATO. This is yournewswire.com. It says Russian military prepare for war against U.S. and NATO. This is July 5th, 2016. According to the Ministry of Defense report, NATO are rapidly building up tens of thousands of troops on the Western Front in readiness for the coming war. And they've been doing this coming war, for decades now. All right? But it all is all written in the scriptures. It says, what does it mean.com reports. According to this report, grave questions as to what, if any, American NATO forces President Obama is actually in charge of emerged last week, when on Monday, June 27th, the Obama regime transmitted the text of the proposed agreement to the Kremlin seeking to join with the Federation in an alliance against ISIS in Syria. But which a day later, on Tuesday, the 28th, by the U.S. Army, whose top general announced at the British Army's annual conference on land warfare that his nation's top priority is to deter and, if necessary, defeat Russia in a war. So they saying that they want to team up with Russia. They're talking about Obama meeting up with Putin.
Stupid.
And when you watch, if you watch it on CNN or on the news, they basically said nothing came out of it.
Right. Because Russia is not a part of NATO.
Mm-hmm.
So Russia is a threat, a big threat. So they have to, the elites have to play these games within their movie. They have their own movie, right?
Yeah.
No, this is the movie, man. All right.
So you type in Russia NATO conflict, and it's gonna pull up all types of stuff, man. It's gonna pull up all types of stuff. One quick point that I wanted to make was Revelation 13:13.
All right, Revelation 13:13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he make fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Yeah. So he makes fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. All right. So this is talking about his missile technology. But Apostle Ramla was making an excellent point how this is talking about when basically Esau first started using NATO all across the world to control everything. Okay. And the first big time that they did that was the war in Kosovo, when they was just basically carpet bombing the hell out of that place, man. And they eventually did get control over those regions. Okay? Go ahead.
Habakkuk chapter 1 and 9. They shall come all for violence. Their faces shall sup up as the east wind, and they shall gather to the captivity as the sand.
Yeah. So, real quick, and I'll chop this up and put more into it so it can be more thorough for brothers. But I just through the spirit I want to go through it. This is Kosovo War in Wikipedia.
Right, because brothers be thinking that
it's talking about Nagasaki and Hiroshima. That's not what they're talking about, because it wasn't even formulated yet. That beast system wasn't even formed yet. We were reading about that during the Treaty of Rome when they first brought together those 10 horn countries.
1951, right?
Yeah, like 1957.
Yeah, 57. Okay. Right.
Okay. All right. So this is the Kosovo War. It says was an armed conflict in Kosovo that lasted from the 28th of February 1989 until 11 June 1999. It was fought by the forces of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. All right, at this time, consisting of the republics of Montenegro and Serbia, all right, which controlled Kosovo before the war. All right, so that was one side, with Serbia and Montenegro, the Serbs, and then it says, and the Kosovo Albanian rebel group, known as Kosovo Liberation Army. Have y'all heard that before? A Liberation Army, or moderate rebels that the U.S. and NATO just so happens to be funding. All right, that's opposed to Russia and its interests. All right, and they were called the KLA, with air support from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, from 22nd of March 1999, ground support from the Albanian Army. The KLA formed in 1991. When did the Soviet Union so-called break up? 1991. So you can bet that they was already funding and getting all this stuff prepared, man. All right. It says initiated its first campaign in 1995 when it launched attacks targeting Serbian law enforcement in Kosovo, and in June 1996, the group claimed responsibility for the acts of sabotage against targeting Kosovo police stations. Okay, let me see.
He was just bombing people, man.
Mm-hmm. When you skip down on this, it says after attempts at a diplomatic solution failed, NATO intervened, justifying the campaign in Kosovo as a humanitarian war. A humanitarian war. Ain't that something?
Right.
All right. Just like they say now, the war on terror, they try to make it sound peaceful,
Mm-hmm.
Through his policy. What is that, Daniel?
Daniel, yeah.
Yeah. Says after attempts at a diplomatic solution failed, NATO intervened, justifying the campaign in Kosovo as a humanitarian war. This precipitated a mass expulsion of Kosovar Albanians as the Yugoslav forces continued to fight during the aerial bombardment of Yugoslavia. Okay? And basically, when you look that up, and Lord willing, I'll put some stuff in post-production, man, the NATO devastated that place, man, with bombs, man. They were bombing the hell out of that place.
Yeah.
You know? You got that scripture?
I got peace. I know what you're talking about. This is Daniel 8:25. And through his policy also, he said, cause craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. And shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
Yeah, man, and with peace he shall destroy many. And that's why he calling this a humanitarian war.
Right, I got you. This is Revelations 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, which this is dealing with America. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. All right, so through peace, through him creating bullshit between this side and this side, through either of these sides being the side to have the solution, is deemed as peace to people.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with this side. But the end result of it is he bombs your ass, man.
Yeah.
You get destroyed. Everything, when you take hold to this system, it leads to your death. Look at Jake marching, civil rights. You took hold to his system, and it totally neutered you, man.
Yeah. He destroyed you,
He
man.
destroyed you.
All right? He devoured you, man.
Yeah.
Brutally.
So he comes like a lamb, which is basically an innocent animal, you know. But he speaks as a dragon, that military, man. He destroys your ass, man. Oh, man. This man is really like, you wonder sometimes, like, why hasn't he paid? But you got to understand that the Lord has reserved his judgment to the end. He said, if you kill Cain, sevenfold will happen to you. So Esau be getting away with shit. You be like, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah.
You kill Esau, you get life. That's that energy that comes with Esau, man. That's the energy the Lord put on him when he was Cain.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna just kill Cain, man, because the Lord got a sacrifice in Basra, man. You Edomites got it coming, man. Because all of this stuff we're reading about, meanwhile, you're arguing about a man sitting down doing your whack-ass national anthem, man. You're making this the issue of the world. Meanwhile, you're doing this type of stuff, man. Raping children, raping men in front of their wives. You're just losing it, man. You're a lunatic, man.
Yeah. His desires is hell, man.
This nigga is crazy, man. Yeah.
Okay. That's really all I wanted on it, bro. I just wanted to bring that out there, because I know brothers probably thought that one scripture talking about Nagasaki and Hiroshima is not talking about that. And then when you go back and read it, it helps you understand the book of Revelation. You understand it more fully. Okay, but you see how it's playing out on the planet Earth, man. Okay, can you hear me, Apostle?
I can hear you.
Okay, you on.
All right, yeah, and I just wanted to say something real quick. Shalom Akim. Just wanted to say something real quick on that scripture in Revelation 13:13 when the brother read it and broke it down. Apostle Tar, he was the first one that brought that out, because, the beast is not just Esau. The beast is NATO. NATO and the EU. So you have to go back to the origins as Ariella did with the information. You got to go to the origins of when was the first time they started bombing this particular country. And that's what took place. Now, the book of Revelation, when you read the book of Revelation, 85% to 90% of that book is prophetic, and it's parabolic. It's symbolic. It's written in parables. That's why you read about a beast, you read about this, you read about that. And you have to know how to put it all together. you know, and through the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai, we, you know, beginning with the elders before us, and you know, and Apostle Tahar, of course, you know, we understand that these are prophecies of different empires that were ruling throughout the planet, you know, and with the book of Revelation, that's really dealing with the power structure of Esau when they came into power during the Greeks.
Yeah, it
You
makes
know, when
sense.
I'm sorry, that.
I was just like, man, it made sense when I heard you say it on that sit down. I was like, oh snap, you know.
Yeah, because you know it starts off with who? With the leopard. You know, the leopard is a swift beast, like you brought out. And then Daniel the 8th chapter says how when the leopard took down the Medo-Persian Empire or the ram, it said his feet didn't touch the earth. You know why? Because he moved swiftly in taking them down. You know, so that was the beginning of the power structure of the empire of Esau, which the scripture say Esau is the end of the world. That began the end of when they first came into power. That began the end of them. Even though that was the beginning of them, that was the end of them, and that's why it began with the leopard, and then it went from the head all the way down to the feet to the end of them. You know, which is Russia, which they're also Edomites. You know, and that's what the whole book of Revelation is. It's a book of prophecy. It's also a book of parabolic things. Now we know through our elders, you know, that the Roman Empire was going to be revived again, you know, in the future, you know, and we've been bringing that out, you know, even before I came in the truth, that was being brought out back before. High Priest Ariel was bringing that out, you know, and then, you know, we learned and we went and did the research, and now when you type in is America the revival of the Roman Empire, or is America Rome, you have a whole bunch of articles that Edomites have written, and they all pretty much date to like the 2000s, you know, and up, 2005, 2013, you know, because we've been out there pushing it so heavy, and these devils, they watch. You know, so now all of a sudden they say, oh, well, you know, America is mentioned in the Bible. Everybody's saying America is America mentioned in the Bible. We've been saying that for years, you know, through the Spirit. But now all of a sudden they come out and they say it, and now people believe them because they're the devil, they're Esau, they're the white man, the great white man. You know, but we've been saying that for years. You know, so that whole beast system is a power structure that was going to be ruling in the latter days, and it wasn't just prophesied in the book of Revelation; it was also prophesied in the book of Daniel. You know, and Daniel, when Daniel saw those different beasts, the Lord pretty much showed him all the kingdoms from that point up until now, and the beginning of those kingdoms and the end of those kingdoms. Because by the time the end came, that's why the Lord showed him that the Israelites, the saints, are going to take dominion over everything, because when Yahweh Shai comes back, that's why he's going to be known as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, because he's going to be the one to take over all those different empires and smack all the crowns off of them, so to speak, and put them to himself, and they're going to be in subjection to him, which in turn he's going to make them in subjection to us, because, you know, we're going to be joint rulers with him, you know, joint heirs, you know. So, I mean, you know, I just wanted to mention that NATO, another thing too, NATO was set up in 1949 under the Treaty of Rome, of course. The EU was the first, they first got recognized in March of 1957, but they didn't get their charter until January of 1958. You know, so when those powers came together under the Treaty of Rome, that's really what cemented this beast. You know, going back in history. You know, that's pretty much all I want to say. Because, you know, you brothers pretty much went through the scripture and broke it down. I just wanted to, you know, put my 2 cents in it.
You know, we appreciate it, Apostle. The water.
Shalom.
All right, hey, shalom. Y'all should shout back.
Hey, y'all shout back. Shalom. There you have it. You know, so we just wanted to go through those couple of scriptures. That was just something that's been on our mind that we kind of been studying on. Lord willing, like I said, I'll break that one down and put more, you know, documentary type stuff, maps and stuff like that, so you can kind of look at it and study it and go over it. But did anybody else have anything? All right, man. So with that, we'll give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. We'll send double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutation to all you Akim out there pushing the word across the globe in sincerity and truth. Shalom.
Shalom.